The first thing you notice about Varanasi is that it does look old, really old, like the whole city is covered in centuries of dust. It is the oldest still inhabited city in the world and has been a cultural center for North India for thousands of years. It is the holy city of Lord Shiva, a very powerful major Hindu deity, easily recognized by his blue skin, serene smile, and the serpent wrapped around his neck. When you first arrive in Varanasi, it is a big, chaotic city filled with people, stores, and intense traffic. People were pouring into the city to celebrate Shivaratri, a festival devoted to Shiva. We made our way to the old city on the banks of the Ganges River. You know you've entered the old city by its intense and distinct smell of rotting food, animal feces, and raw sewage. The road's narrow, so only pedestrians and occasional motorbikes may pass through. It quickly becomes a difficult to navigate maze, filled with animals and people everywhere, sharing this cramped space. I stopped to try some pan, which was tobacco mixed with other herbs and wrapped in betel leaf.
You chew it, okay? You stick it up, right? Let's give it a try.
It was not the experience I had hoped for.
Quite enough of that. All right, that was intense. Thank you, sir. Good. Intense. Woo!
The ghats are a long stretch of stone staircases along the Ganges, which allow people to easily go into the river to bathe. It is considered a sacred place where there are frequently rituals performed. Although quite noisy and crowded, it was positively serene compared to the streets. There was a lot of psychedelic art painted on the walls. We saw a group of widows who often, by custom, are forced to shave their heads and live lives of poverty and homelessness. were many sadhus here, easily recognized by their orange robes. These are men who have renounced worldly life and live on the street, relying on strangers for food and practicing their religious customs. They are considered holy men. There were also what I called weekend sadhus, who seemed to be there mainly to make a few rupees being a photo model for tourists. Varanasi is known for its burning ghats. The Manikarnika Ghat has had cremation fires burning here for thousands of years, with hundreds of bodies being burned each day. According to Hindu spiritual beliefs, it is considered especially auspicious if, when you die, you can be burned and your ashes thrown into the Ganges. It is believed that cremation here ensures the soul's liberation.
So it's the night before Shivaratri. This is called Pachkoshi Yatra. And young men from all over the countryside come into the city and they do a walk the night before. I've heard that it's 75 kilometers. I've heard that it's 100 kilometers. It's a long way. They walk all the way around the city and they stop at all the temples that are all around the city.
We left these young pilgrims to their barefooted journey around the city. Many of these young men came from sleepy rural villages, and this rowdy annual walk is no doubt one of their yearly highlights. It was the day of Shivaratri, and I headed out to find the day parade. The Ghats were in full swing, and there were many small groups performing rituals along the Ganges, singing, chanting, praying, and throwing offerings into the fire. I kept walking and came across some snake charmers. Yes, real-life snake charmers. Walking into the city, we started seeing large gatherings of people in the streets. Then the parade began. Like most parades, it was an eclectic mix of different kinds of music, dancing, floats, and people, mostly children, dressed up as Hindu gods and goddesses. Okay, that last part wasn't like most parades I've been to, but this was a parade dedicated to Shiva after all. Many costumed children were perched precariously on metal poles as they were carried through the streets. For music, there were many brass marching bands. There were also sound systems blasting out Indian techno powered by generators following closely behind. Most of the floats and costumes were clearly homemade on a low budget. Except for the techno music and phone selfies happening, this parade probably looked very much like it did 100 years ago. The star of the show, an avatar of Shiva himself, arrived on a throne to the cheers and adulation of his devotees. According to legend, long ago, Lord Shiva unleashed the Ganges from a knot in his hair, and to this day it perpetually flows out, providing the necessary water for millions of people. The waters of the Ganges are extremely polluted with raw sewage from the city, as well as burned dead bodies. This does not stop Indians from bathing in it or even brushing their teeth with it. Ritual bathing in the Ganges, especially at these ghats, is said to bestow spiritual blessings. It is also commonly believed that the river water has healing powers. Because of this, Varanasi has been a popular spiritual pilgrimage for thousands of years. It was the big night, and people were preparing for the evening rituals. It was the night of Lord Shiva, and the children were serving up bhang, which was a cannabis-infused drink served at the temples. Shiva is known for his love of intoxicants. The streets were full as the crowds waited for the parade to arrive. At last, the parade began. Was taking full effect. From the stoned look of the crowd, I'd say that many here had had more than one cup of it. Drugs, such as LSD and MDMA, were also common, I was told, but no temples were handing them out. There is something beautiful and poetic about Varanasi and its ancient customs. On the other hand, the level of pollution, social and economic inequality, and general chaos was hard to ignore. It seemed like a city struggling to come to terms with modern social freedoms and the physical demands of its enormous 21st century population. In my mind's eye, I could see it as it was thousands of years ago, with far less people, surrounded by forests and crystal clear water. Varanasi has a special vibration that comes from being a center of spiritual devotion for thousands of years. Being in Varanasi feels like being in a dream, sometimes a nightmare. It's an intense place to visit. Thanks for joining me for the ride.